Hey everybody, welcome to Midnight Sessions. This is Marcy Taylor, and it's actually midnight where I am right now. And my special guest is someone I've known for many, many years back in Manila. And we reunited because of the pandemic, of course, been checking out people that I've known and people that are actually doing things during this time. Our guest, DJ John Robinson, has been entertaining people who are stuck at home with his Sanctuary Twitch stream, DJing, playing some retro tunes to, give people some comfort during this very difficult time. So now I will bring in John.
Hey
Hey,
Marcy, how are you?
how are you?
All good, thank you.
Okay,
Nice to be
cool.
here.
Nice. So you're in Manila right now, right?
Yes, in Manila.
Nice. And what's it like right now? Is it still lockdown and stuff like that?
Um, they have a very complicated series of levels of quarantine, so we're in one of them. So yeah, still curfew from I think from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we're still in some form of lockdown.
Oh my gosh. Now, since we're talking, John Robinson came to the Philippines in we can't say because it'll give away my age, but it's 80s.
Nothing forgotten.
Yes. But because we're looking back, let's look at our fresh faces, something I found from the vaults, from the archives. Look at us. We're so cute. Oh, anyway, this is what
That's
I,
hilarious.
yeah.
The Poveda School prom, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my gosh. Don't even know how we met, so we met. Look at you here. You were fresh. Were you fresh from London or somewhere else? Like, how?
I'd arrived from London, but I hadn't really lived in England that much since I was there. In that I was what 22 or 23, maybe I'm not sure, 20s. Um, I've been working internationally as a DJ probably since I was about 17 or 18, and maybe I went back to London for a little bit to like repack and whatever before coming to the Philippines. But basically, I've been away for a while already.
So you've been a DJ for, most of your life. How did you
Oh
get?
my God, I started when I was 12, so I've been a DJ much longer than I haven't.
There were DJs already?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there was a handle on the side you used to crank up the turntables, and a big horn with came out.
Oh my gosh. Now being a DJ is hello, playlist. No, just kidding. Um, Tell us about that. What was what kind of music made you want to play music?
I mean, I always liked dance music, and at the time, it was to use a word which went terribly out of fashion. It was sort of the last days of disco, if you like, disco music. Um, but it was more than that. I mean, what really got me into doing probably two things. When used to travel a lot with my parents, and when I traveled out of England, we'd go to Spain or Greece or somewhere like that. I always used to take myself off and go to discos at night. I was just fascinated. I just sort of find somewhere to sit with my drink, whatever, and just I was more there. I was not drinking. I was not like an underage boozer or something, but I was just interested in the whole thing. It just was fascinating. And then back in England, we used to have like little things at school disco, school parties, youth
Right.
club things, and the DJs always sucked. They were really bad. And arrogance of youth, you think, I can do that. I can do better than that. So that's kind of what was the seed to get me into that.
Nice. Was there ever a time you wanted to be something else? Maybe like a rock
Oh,
star or something like that? Because obviously,
absolutely, there was. I'd always wanted to act, and that was everything that I was going towards. And I'll come back to that in a moment. Um, I had a pretty traumatic injury when I was 12, which completely screwed up one of my eyes. And for a long time, it didn't look in my opinion, it didn't look very good. And if you're doing anything, you always think, what's the highest point? Where is your goal? And as an actor, you want to do, movies and TV. And I thought, well, it doesn't work anymore. It just screwed up an eye. So that was sort of why, that sort of maybe was the kick that pushed me towards what I also wanted to do, which was to DJ. But the reason I said I'd come back to it after that is that I've acted a little after that, and it's probably was not a bad a bad change of course, because I don't know that I would have been the best actor in the world.
Well, when you DJ, do you feel like you put on a persona?
To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, my wife would be the first one to say that, when I'm really, in the zone, if you like, she doesn't know who I am. It's like I'm a different person. And yeah,
Yeah.
it is a persona to a certain extent. It's not a pretense. It's not like, oh, let's do, it's not that. It just no, exactly. It just kind of, it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing. It just kind of takes over and unleash the beast.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, because I think you're not, would you say you're an extrovert?
Um, Probably classic introvert extrovert. In day to day, I'm probably very introverted, but when I'm performing, probably quite the opposite.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Because like knowing you as a person, you're pretty laid back and quiet, but when someone sees you up on stage, up there in the days, it is something else. And then so watching some videos of yours recently, I'm like, what? Who is this? And this is the perfect time to show something
Oh yeah! Oh no!
many years
What do you
ago.
got?
And you can tell us what's going on because I'm like, what's going on here?
If I can remember it, I haven't seen this yet, so this is going to be a surprise for me. So
Yeah,
let's see
let's
what
see.
you've
I
got.
hope you can hear it. Let's see if it works.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I can see the picture. I don't see it. I don't see it moving, but I know
I'm
what it
going to
is.
start it so that you can tell us what's going on.
Okay.
Ooh, everything's gonna be all right is the name of
Mm-hmm.
the song.
Yes.
You see it? There, so we can see it.
This was actually taken from one of my later albums. I did 7 solo albums for the last.
When was this? Like,
Probably 96. I would say 95 or 96, I think.
okay,
Might have been 97. I'm not sure.
oh nice. Okay, I'm gonna forward it to that. John the Hair.
All or nothing kind of guy. Yeah, so that was this song was actually we're doing it for. Do you remember the Sega Dream? Was it the Dreamcast or what was the one
Oh
before the Dreamcast? There was a game that was coming out, and that's so those graphics at the beginning of it, they're actually taken from this game that was being developed in Japan called DJ Wars, and we did the music for this video game, but they took so long to get this game out. Number one, by the time the game came out, I think the platform had already died. I think the PlayStation had come along or something, and the platform had died. And so I mean, it's the game. The game didn't do any good. The song did well for us in Japan, but the game didn't do anything.
Did you write the music? Did you
I
have
did.
any?
I do. I write all my music and
Oh wow.
and play all of program all of the instruments and produce and everything except the engineering and mix. I don't do that. Somebody else does that.
But yeah, creatively, that was your creation,
Yeah.
and maybe you chose the leather. I don't know.
No, that was actually, yeah, that was oh my God, that was actually made of PVC. It was sort of, I think it was inspired by the. Do you remember the Borg on Star Trek?
Yes.
Star Trek
Yeah.
The Next Generation? I think it was inspired by the Borg, the costume designer, and that literally they had to lie me on the floor and staple me into it. It was a horrendous costume. It was kind of fun, but it was horrendous in a way. It was like wearing a sauna suit in the middle of summer for 8 hours. It wasn't fun, but
Yeah, and then back then you actually had to do that so they could do the effects and stuff. It wasn't like, CGI or anything. So
oh
that,
no
so that,
no no, that was all. That was. I mean, we had a little CGI in there. There was an earlier one we did, which was shot on film, which had a little very primitive CGI in it. But the costumes and everything are all were all as they are. There was nothing added in post.
how fun. Have you done anything like that since, like since that time in the 90s when you released the records?
I released the track towards the end of the, what do you call them? The noughties, the twenty,
Yeah.
the aughts or the
2000s.
no, I call them the noughties. I released a track in Europe, um, which it did okay in Holland. I think we did top 30 in Holland,
You never know.
which I like the song. It's you haven't found that one, I'm guessing, which is probably not
Okay.
a bad
No,
thing.
I wonder, I was trying to find stuff on Spotify, but that's probably a different.
Oh, there's a lot on Spotify.
Was it just your name? Because I found a few that said like John Robinson.
I think it usually comes up under DJ John Robinson, but it's a common name. There's a few of us, and there's a New York hip hop DJ, also a DJ John Robinson, that sometimes comes up.
Okay, I think that's what it was because I was like, wait a minute, he plays hip hop too.
Yeah, nah, that's a dead giveaway.
uh, hey, why didn't you change your name to a DJ name like Goldie or?
I don't know. I never really saw the benefit in hiding behind a pseudonym, and I think back when I started, back in when the dinosaurs still roamed the planet, DJs didn't really change their name so much. They pretty much were who they were.
So, what was that like for you when you have been DJing before DJing was cool, and then in the 90s, I think that's when the switch was DJs themselves became the celebrities. They're the ones we went to see. They weren't just background music. Talk about that time and what that
I
felt
mean,
like.
well, that was a blast. I was in Japan through the 90s, and it was kind of you know an old friend of mine. You remember back in the old days, as bless her, she passed a long time ago. Do you remember Paula Luz?
Yes, yes. Oh man,
So let
talented
that was
lady.
back in our Pepsi New Generation days. So Paula said to me, positioning, John Robinson, you have positioning. She thought that I'd planned this, and I always got in the right place at the right time. It was dumb luck, but she said positioning, you're positioning. She was really cute. Um, but no, I landed in Japan. I actually went to Japan because I wanted to um, take a step back from DJing for a bit and learn how to produce and mix,
Oh
remixes.
wow.
So,
Okay.
so
Cool.
that's kind of what the first year in Japan was about. And then through another series of coincidences, there's a huge super club about to open, and the guys putting it together were saying, I wonder where John is. He'd be perfect for this. And after one day, after work in the studio, I went to Roppongi. I thought I'll just pass by there, have a drink before I go home. And I'm walking down the street. I'm walking one way. These two guys who've been talking about me are walking the other. And we literally bump into each other on the street. And they look at me and they look at each other and they just burst out laughing. They couldn't speak for about 5 minutes because they'd literally just been saying, I wonder where John is. Um, and then they said, "Hey, we're opening this new club. We've just been talking about you. You'd be perfect for it. Are you interested?" And I said, nah, no thanks. I'm doing something different right now.
Yeah.
And so they kept on at me for about a week or so, and then me being not that hard to get, eventually said, yeah, all right, I'll come and take a look at it. And then I decided to sort of jump back in and start doing
Is that
what
Juliana?
I'd always. Yeah, that was Juliana's, and that was quite that did really well. That was the first big super club in Japan.
Wow. That's crazy. It's so weird for me to think of clubs right now because nothing is open, people aren't around, and that's you're skin to skin with people. The music's
Yeah.
so yeah, it's
Oh, it's
weird.
weird for me too. I mean, I tried to delete everything on my calendar, but once in a while, it's almost like my calendar is taunting me because I'll get like a little thing pop up and I'm supposed to be in Okinawa or Tokyo or something like that, and it's like I thought I'd taken all these out of the calendar anymore, and it's a different dynamic. I do these things online, and the interaction is done in a different way. You don't.
Yes.
I can still feel something because of how, I don't know if you've seen any of them, but the
Yeah,
chat room is unbelievably vibrant, and I can feel the swell through there, and almost similar to the way you can feel a swell coming through a live crowd, but it is very, very different. Of course, it is.
different. I mean, I see you DJing there, acting like there are people in front of you. And where are you in your house? The kitchen? I don't know.
No, well, I am where I am now, and you would have seen it if the system I'd
I
set
know.
up yesterday had cooperated. You would have seen it on camera now. So I have you know I guess what's pandemic good for, but to learn new skills. So I learned all this broadcast stuff and different platforms and stuff, and so I've different sets that I use. Just like a basic set, and then when I ramp it up, it's like a club set with club lighting and a sort of a virtual crowd, and kind of
No,
it kind of gets me going as well.
early ones, and they have come so far from like the early days of the pandemic. But so you weren't active on this way before,
No, not at all. Not at all. It was the day before we were going into lockdown here. Or I think it was we knew the lockdown was coming that evening,
Mhm.
and I was in near a computer store, and I thought, and I'd seen on the news the day before. Do you remember those old news stories about the Italians singing on their balcony and DJing on their balcony? And I thought, well, I could do something, but I can't do it on my balconies. People might like throw things at me or something, but maybe I can take it a little more high tech. So I went out and bought some extra cameras, and then I figured, how am I going to do this? Then my elder daughter had said, about Twitch. And I mean, it's a gamers platform, but we figured, this might work because,
Yes.
so pretty much that night went live on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, and this just sort of figured it out as we went along.
And to the concept of sanctuary, which is the name of the party or the show, was that a new concept, or tell us about what it's about?
I think it was. I mean, the name sort of. I came up with a couple of names and then sort of like bounced it back and forth with a few people I know. But we all kind of stuck with sanctuary because it's it kind of encompasses what we're doing. It's a place you can come to be safe. You can party at home and it's completely safe. And it just seemed to embody what we're doing. And then it was really weird because about 2 or 3 weeks into it, and our chat is insane. On a typical weekend over the three broadcasts, we do maybe 35,000 messages. So I have like a big monitor up in front of me now and I superimpose the messages there so I can try and keep up with it as much as I possibly can, because that's my audience contact. And I started to see these terms like sanctuarians, and I thought, I didn't get it. I didn't pick up on it. I thought people were talking about some church group they were
Yeah.
part of or something. It
Oh,
just the penny didn't drop that they kind of coined that phrase for themselves, and they've become sanctuarians, sanctuary fans, sanctuarians.
oh my
So,
gosh.
and so that's really what they call themselves now. And then as you know, as we realized that we had an audience, and it was an audience that we're coming, we figured, well, you know what, there's so many people there with need. What can we do to make, to do our bit socially as well? And that sort of led into the fundraising efforts, and it just all kind of gelled. It just kind of came together. I'd love to say I had this huge master plan from day one. I thought I was going to do this and this and this, but I'd be lying through my teeth. It just kind of, coalesced.
Dude, it's like the story of your life, it seems. It happens.
Maybe, yeah, actually.
No, and also very giving. So one of the cool things about Sanctuary or you going on these live streams is that you have raised money for some worthy causes. Can you maybe mention some of them?
Yeah, a bunch. I mean, we helped some local governments initially. We helped Mayor Isco, City of Manila. We did Valenzuela, Antipolo. Batangas needed help. Um, we did some more targeted campaigns as well. Last weekend, we helped the scholars of San Beda, whose parents have lost work due to the pandemic. One campaign which I really loved, which I'm going to do again. I've got a huge thing planned towards the end of October. There's something called the Missionaries of the Poor. They have a shelter not that far from where we live, and what they do is they look after children with cerebral palsy who've pretty much been abandoned. And I mean, it's really tragic. Some of these kids were literally found in the trash, which is
Yeah.
just shocking. And they also look after some old folks who've just got nowhere else to go, and they do programs to feed street kids as well. So it's a really nice group, run by these brothers who've taken, out of poverty and live with them and everything. And it's really nice cause. We were helping them before Sanctuary came along. So we did that one, and that's one of the ones I think I really liked the most. And towards the end of October, I've decided to do this thing called the marathon. I don't know quite how this came about either, but it kind of took on a life of its own. So I'm going to do an endurance. I'm going to do 18 hours myself. Yes, going to start 9 a.m. here in the Philippines, which is going to be 9 on the East Coast in the US in the evening, 6 on the West Coast. And going to go all the way through the day here until 3 a.m. So 18 hours. And we're going to see if we can raise a good chunk of money to help see Missionaries of the Poor good for another few months.
So you're going to do it yourself. You're not going to have guest DJs or anything.
No, some of the others they were saying, you should have guests, you should, bring other people in and so on. And maybe we'll do another one where we do this, but it's something I want to do. It's an endurance thing. It's a
personal challenge for you to stay up for 18 hours. And
I mean, the staying up is not a problem. I mean, it's basically, that's a normal day, right? And to get it.
Yeah, but how are you going to come up with 18 hours of music?
Oh, that's not a problem. I mean, the typical Sanctuary sets are 6 hours, and I try to make sure that no two sets are the same. I mean, of course, there's going to be substantial overlap. There's things people want to hear. But you won't hear the same sequence or the same mixes or anything. It'll always be different. But I haven't done it yet. But this time I do have a plan of sorts, and I'm gonna block out the 18 hours. So towards the beginning, that's prime time in the States, and we have a substantial audience who watch our North America feed on Sunday mornings for us, but obviously Saturday night in the States. So that will be kind of prime time there. So that'll be like a prime show. And then as that kind of ends, it'll be mid-afternoon here, so I can program accordingly, and then that will lead into the prime time here again. And then as the States wake up, they rejoin us. So it'll be fun.
That does sound fun. I feel like a challenge. Now, one of the cool things about this live streaming thing that I've discovered, and you have too, is that now the world is our oyster. We've got people watching us from everywhere. People will be watching. I'll be posting this midnight Manila, which would be 9 a.m. for me, but we have people watching from everywhere, and it's always so heartwarming to hear from them. And they say, "Hey, I'm in Indonesia. I'm in Italy.
Yeah.
I'm in Dubai," and it's almost like we're all getting connected again, even if we're apart. This is the most connection we're having with people. It's very interesting.
No, for sure, and I have exactly the same experience. We have regular listeners who tune in pretty much to every show, and they're down under in Australia. We have in Indonesia. We have Japan, obviously. Of course, the Philippines is a no-brainer. Um, where else do we have? We have Budapest. We have a gentleman who works for the United Nations who joins us every week from Budapest.
Wow.
Zurich, The Hague, London, of course, LA, San Francisco, New York, all over the States, Vancouver, Toronto. It's really cool. It's
It
really
is.
cool.
So that,
We
that
have
does
one
have,
regular listener in Peru and a bunch in Brazil as well. So it's really,
wow.
really cool.
That does help the fundraising as well, right? Because you can donate anywhere. Is it different things, right? There's some PayPal. There's different ways that they can donate money.
Yeah, well, I work with two producers, one here in the Philippines to help me and one in the States. So usually she would handle the donations in the States because it makes it easier for people in the States and Canada if they use things which are local, like Venmo and Zelle and all of
Oh,
this stuff.
right. I know.
We try to, I mean, we can't avoid it, but we try to avoid PayPal because every time PayPal takes out a commission, that's less money, that's taking money. For me, I feel like they're picking the pockets of the charities. It's really annoying. So we try as much as possible to avoid that. But sometimes it's the only way. So it's better to use it than not collect a donation at all.
One of the things I noticed with your beneficiaries, they're so specific. Like you're raising money for students or school. So it's really needed, and it's so awesome of you to be giving this way when we all know nobody's working. You're not working. I mean, So this is really nice of you, John. This is awesome.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not completely altruistic because it's given me something to do. It's given me a mission. I mean, I could have lay down on the sofa for 6 months and got fat and watched Netflix. Instead, it's the opposite. Standing up 18 hours every weekend. I've lost 20 pounds during
Yeah.
lockdown. But no, it's kept me sane because obviously that takes up 6 hours broadcast Friday, Saturday, and then get up early on Sunday morning and do it again there. Well from doing what you're doing that there's an awful lot of prep that goes into it as well. It
And
doesn't just
even when we prep, things could go wrong, like tonight.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's a shame you don't get to see all of the bells and whistles, but the prep, with the best will in the world, it doesn't always work. But um, after we finish this today, I've got 3 posters to design on Photoshop. So the design I do that myself as well.
Too? Wow.
Well, who else? I can't pay somebody to do it. You have to. So I do that, and then we do challenges for the viewer, so edit the videos. We've done collaborations with people, so that will be recording and mixing and editing. So it really is pretty much the whole. I usually take Monday off, but
Mm.
the rest of the week it's doing something for the weekend coming up. So um yeah, I may not be earning from it, but it's keeping me busy, so it gives me a mission. And
And it's totally a new skill, and I think in the future world, this will be part of it. Even if when we return and when you return to clubs, you've got this skill. Yeah, I can produce it on Twitch. Yeah, I have a fan
well, it's
following.
it's it's actually already helped because I have done a couple of corporate events now, and we have another meeting this afternoon for another one we have. So yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do that without having learned this. So it has been helpful, and yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's very, very cool. Yeah. Is it time for another video?
Oh my gosh, what do you got now?
Come on. And I'm going to put you solo so you can talk us through it.
Okay.
I'm going to take myself off the stream so you can see it. All right.
Okay. It's not running yet, but I know what it is. So yes, this was actually the first video that we shot. This was back in 1994. A song called Tokyo Go. I got really lucky with this song. I guess lightning in a bottle in that it's until now it's one of those songs that gets played in clubs in Japan. It's the game with sort of the status and the letters. Now that's Paul, that's Tokyo. We had a club in Japan here in Tokyo, and I don't know why I did it, but one night I just grabbed the mic in the booth and I go, Tokyo! And that became sort of the thing for the club. And then I wrote this song. I wrote the music first, and so I had the whole song done. Didn't have a clue what I was going to do for then decided I'm going to take that Tokyo call and drop it in, and then it all just came together. Wrote the lyrics in about 10 minutes that you can probably tell. Those effects a moment ago when we talked about the shadow and clear over space, we shot this on film with the kind of like this thing here. That was shot as it looked, so there was a suggestion for getting that kind of net over me, and then they shot that on film. It was kind of cool. The rest of it is like very early CGI in the background. It was a bit in the moment I turned into a robot. The next one of the Tokyos, I think it's going to turn into what is Terminator a minute ago. Yeah, that's about it, really.
It is very catchy. And when I read the comments on YouTube, everyone was like,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the music. There we go.
I read comments under this video, and there were recent comments, people going, do you remember this song? So you were pretty big in Japan. Did you learn to speak Japanese?
I can speak Japanese. You know, there's a funny story with this song. It's after it sort of had its peak in the 90s, then in the early 2000s, or actually later, sometime in whenever.
Yeah.
A wrestler started to use it as his music for entering the ring, and wrestling in Japan is a really big deal. It started off the first time where it was just him walking down to the ring with this music, and then as people were reacting to that, then he'd come in, there'd be two dancers behind him, and it kept building up and building up until the point where he would come in to the ring with, I think, 4 girl backup dancers and do a whole choreographed routine to this thing. It was like so weird. And then one of the funniest things I ever saw is a friend of mine sent me a video about a year or so ago that said, you know, I went to the wrestling today and had no idea that my friend here would be here in spirit. And there was 2 wrestlers in the ring. I've got this video somewhere. It had me belly laughing. And there's a guy wrestler and a female wrestler, and he starts to go dum 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 dum, and I didn't know what was going on, but then the crowd's going dum 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 dum, and then she does the Tokyo call.
Oh wow.
Some sort of bastardization of the lyrics. It sounded like da 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 da, go da 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 da.
Yeah.
But it was just funny. It was really funny,
Oh my God.
really funny. And then the
Maybe
last bit,
royalties for you, man.
I'm sorry, just while we're on this thing, the last bit of this, we'd made a refreshed version of this. It was Tokyo Go 2020, and it was supposed to be a stadium hype song during the Olympics, which is a real bummer because it was really good as well. And now it's kind of, it's kind of in the vault for now. And but it was really now and really tight and so on. And I don't think the Olympics are going to happen next year either. I mean, who knows? Maybe, but if it does, the sound, sound evolves, sound changes, music
Yeah.
changes all the time. So, it's a shame. It's a really shame.
So it hasn't been played because they're saving it for the Olympics.
Oh, I've tested it. I've played it, and it really worked. But it obviously hasn't been played in a stadium. The idea was to use it as a stadium hype song,
Yeah.
before events and stuff like that. So anyway, so
Aw.
yeah.
Hey, why did you make any records in Manila? I don't. You did. Did you?
I did, yeah, but it's I've been I've been trying to buy up the remaining copies that I have, that I when I find them, to take them out of circulation.
Friends, if you find any, tell John you found some. He
Look,
wants them back.
last night, it's funny you say that. Let's see if I can find this. Last night, somebody sent me a message. He's somebody who sells records on what you call it, on Facebook, and you could see that there. He's got an old copy, and it's signed. I must have signed it for somebody. Oh, there we go. Hang on. So
Yeah.
he had that, and he's saying, "Oh, maybe you want to buy it." So somebody offered one to me last night. He had that, and I don't
Vinyl?
know where people find this stuff. And he also found this. Let's see my light suit.
Oh my
One of the
goodness.
old Pepsi giveaways that we used to sort of like give out at gigs to, so,
Wow.
I don't know where we found this stuff.
I Yeah, people have shown me stuff as well. Like you kept these things. Like that's so interesting. I had written a book a few years ago here in the States, and I don't have copies. Went on Amazon and I found a used copy, and it was signed by me. So I go, well, it looks like someone read it and then, put it away, Goodwill or something. But it's so funny to get something back with your signature on it.
You bought it,
I bought it, of course. It looked like it had been read, and there was a dedication. So I guess someone had gifted it
right?
to another friend. So that's nice.
I think I bought one copy of that album because I didn't have one in sort of like, for archive material, but it seems really strange having to buy
Your own thing.
items. Yeah, it's really weird.
Well, I'd like to think they loved it when they had it.
Yeah, well, I'll choose to think that about that album too. But if I did that one, I would have given it away as well. That's why I went to Japan to learn how to do it myself, how to produce, how to remix,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
to
yeah. And
control and make it better.
at that time, Manila's scene was very different. Like for dance, I guess the music was not. It's not the same. While you were in Japan, that's when the raves and warehouse parties were happening in Manila.
Yeah,
Um,
yes.
but then that was already happening in Japan as well, right? And
Yeah, but I was doing a big, I was, focused on doing a big club, so I wasn't really involved in those types of things at that time in Japan.
oh, like you were the house DJ for the club. Like that's you didn't play anywhere else.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was resident of Juliana's, and then I toured. I did other
Mhm.
in Tokyo. I pretty much did Juliana's.
Where did you go after Japan?
Well, I was in Japan for a long time, so I think I was there about 10 years, and then I was there every weekend for probably almost another 10 years.
Oh,
So that was I came back to Philippines for about 5 years. So I was back and forth to Japan every week, literally every week.
wow.
Then from here we moved to Thailand, and I was still back and forth to Japan
Yes.
every weekend from there.
Nice. So I always thought you were spiritually Filipino, but it sounds like you're also half Japanese inside.
I think it's fair to say I'm spiritually Filipino as well, but I mean, I really, Japan was good to me as well. So it is also very, very much, if Manila is second home, it's a close third. And I'm used to going there multiple times per year. Even nowadays, I tour usually maybe 6 times a year, maybe seven, and I haven't been there now since gosh, January, I think. I
Yeah.
think I was
And
there
you
in
friends, of
January.
course, friends that you kind of grew up with and, you know, during our growing up years in the 90s. And
Yeah.
remember that traveling? When was that again?
Yeah. Well, there was a period of when we were first in lockdown
Mhm.
here. Um, I hadn't put any gas in my car for more than 3 months. I mean, not even a drop, which seemed really shocking. And even now, from when we started lockdown 6 months ago, I think I've put in maybe a total of $50 worth of gas.
Wow,
Um,
that's crazy. I know. But then it also makes you think of, you know, maybe some of the places we were going to were unnecessary or things we were doing. It seems like now we do things with intention. So I'm only gonna gas up if I have to go somewhere, and I will go somewhere to get groceries or things like that. I also noticed that when people ask other people now, "Hey, are you okay?" They really want to know, "Are you okay?"
mm, yeah, it's not maybe just so superficial now.
Yes, so there's that, and I hope that when it's over, those things don't go away. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that.
Okay, so I know you have lots of things to do, so I think it's time to get to my little lightning round of questions, stream of consciousness questions. These are the same 10 questions that I ask every guest on Midnight Sessions.
Okay,
These questions are, if you've ever seen James Lipton inside the actor's studio, these are these questions. So just first thing that comes to mind, or if you'd like to delve deeper into something, feel free.
okay. Should I
First,
be scared?
no, it's cool. It's cool. First question, John. What is your favorite word?
I don't know that I have one. I've never thought about it. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, what's your least favorite word?
Moist. Isn't that a horrible word?
You're one of those. Moist is good when it applies to chocolate cake.
Oh, agreed. It's just like it's just something about the word. I don't know what it is.
The sound of it. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Um, Something new, something that sparks something. Uh, an example, heard a Brazilian, I don't go looking for obscure
Hmm,
songs in other languages, but heard a Brazilian house tune recently, which is just, I don't understand a word of it, but musically and melodically, it's joyous. It's astonishing. And it's just so good. So something new, something fresh.
cool. And that applies to everything else, not just music.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, if you're not moving forward, you're standing still or going backwards, right?
Nice, nice. Okay, what turns you off then?
Uh, Pwede na.
Mm,
Things just being, you know, good enough. if you can do it well, do it as well as possible. Do something as good as you can, or try to improve. Try to always be better
Oh,
than the last time. And I think that applies to gigs as well. I'm very comfortable in my own skin with what I do these days, but I'm also quite cognizant that I believe you're only as ever as good, or people only see you as being as good as your last gig. You always have to be better or best, because if otherwise people see you as oh, it was better last time, or he's not as good as he used to be. So you always have to be yeah, it always has to be good.
were you harder on yourself when you were younger? About
Um, was I hard on myself? No, because I realized I still had a lot to learn. I mean, when I first went abroad, I knew that my mixing wasn't very good. So I would go into the club and practice 6 hours every day to make sure that it was to get it to where it needed to go.
that's amazing. Your work ethic is admirable. Okay, what is your favorite curse word?
Do you want me to say it here?
You can.
Are we censored here? Or, I mean, I as much as for as much as you hear that I don't cuss when I'm on air, I'm very outspoken off air and with friends. So I mean, I love those things where they show the many usages of the F word on how it can be
Oh,
used, in this word or any word. But the best swear word has probably got to be the English one, bollocks. I mean,
I
it's
was going
just
to
got
say,
like,
say
oh,
that.
it's just got so much, especially if something is really shit, and you can just say that's bollocks. It's quite a good way.
Okay, what sound or noise do you love?
What sound or noise do I love? Music.
Okay, what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, it made the hair stand up on my arms thinking about it. The sound of somebody filing their nails.
Really? Oh,
Oh, that drives me nuts.
okay. Do not go into a nail salon or
No,
anything
I'm
like.
I'm cringing just thinking about it right now.
Wow.
Also, I'm gonna add, um, metallic sounds. Like if you drop like a large, for example, like a metal serving spoon or a dish, if you drop that onto a stone floor, there's something about the frequency of it. I'll get a headache just like that. I mean, it's like somebody flicked a switch. It's instantaneous. It's
I
really weird.
wonder if your hearing is more sensitive because you're a DJ. Like,
I mean, it should be screwed, right? Because I've been
yes.
in clubs all my life, but I think it's pretty good.
Wow. Lucky, lucky. You haven't lost any hearing or anything. Okay. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Would I like to attempt? You mean now, or that I wanted to in the past?
Just something you want to try.
Well, I'd mentioned before that I wanted to act, and then it wasn't a bad idea that I didn't, because I didn't think I was very good at it.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older and more comfortable in my skin, if you like, I would like to try it again. And there's actually a possibility that it might happen. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
I'd like to try that.
You'd be a good bad guy, I think, now.
I'd love to be a bad guy.
Really?
Yeah, I'd love to be a bad guy, but I don't know if I could keep my face straight enough to be to be a bad guy.
That's the acting part, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Where am I? Number. What profession would you not like to do?
Most of them. I mean, it's a cop out answer, but I was always very aware that, and this actually ties right back into what I'm doing now, isn't it? Because I was always very aware that I love what I do. I mean, and I get paid to do it. But
Yes,
the thing that you never want to let people know is I would have done it for free because I like doing it.
you,
And now it turns out that for the last 6 months I have been doing it for free 3 times a week.
you found, like if you do something you love, that you'll never work day in your life, right?
Right,
That's what you
exactly.
found. So you mean you would not like to do anything else?
Not really. I mean, no, not really. I mean,
Did you
related to,
ever
huh?
work at an office or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I did. I
Really?
did. And I held a real estate license in Nevada. I did it in the UK as well.
Really?
Um, yeah, and I actually I love real estate. I find that interesting, and it doesn't, I can set my own time. So when I've got a gig, off I go. If I've got a tour, off I go, and I can kind of, take care of other things when I'm around. But yeah, I found that I enjoyed that.
Oh, cool. All right. It's the last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Um, Come in, or you did okay.
You did okay. You did okay today, and you've been doing awesome these last few months. And thank you so much for providing sanctuary for a lot of people around the world and for helping out some good causes.
Oh, thank you, thank
Hi,
you, thank
Nicole.
you for that.
One day I hope to see you in person. One day.
Well, we had a whole bunch of gigs planned for North America and Canada. So when we can, we'll get those back on the calendar. So we'll invite you
You think it'll come back?
eventually. I hope.
Oh, oh boy. Well, or I'll see you on an island in the Philippines.
There
Meet
we
me,
go.
we'll bring our families,
There you go. That'd be awesome.
Boracay or something, and we'll see you there. And in the meantime, stay safe and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for spending time with all of us today. Thank you, everybody, for watching Midnight Sessions. And I will play out with Tokyo Go or the other song. Let's play them
That's your
out.
choice.
Anyway, thanks so much, John. Have an awesome
Thank
rest of
you. Thank
your
you for having us,
day.
all of you and your family, and to your viewers. And thanks for having me today.
Thank you. Stay safe, man.
Likewise.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Midnight Sessions with DJ John Robinson. I'm going to play out with this song that he made years ago, but it's a big hit in Japan. And imagine yourself a wrestler walking out to this music. Okay, bye everybody.